Thank you, Madam President. It's interesting that I'm chatting with one of my constituents that owns a large apartment complex in Temecula that is looking to divest from California, looking in Tennessee, looking in Texas. You know, some of these apartment owners invest tens of thousands, millions of dollars in complexes. And sometimes you get great tenants, and sometimes you get not so great tenants that can do a lot of damage to your properties. And the eviction process in the state of California is onerous, expensive, comes with a high tag for legal fees, in comparison to just other states that if you have a valid claim, somebody doesn't pay their rent, somebody's doing something illegal in their unit, that instead of months, it can take a few weeks and you can clear that unit up. But the way I understand this bill is basically allowing tenants to organize and to, I guess, in some ways, I'm not being an attorney, to form a kind of a quasi-class action suit against a landlord that should have the right to manage and govern their properties the way they see fit. Certainly if a tenant doesn't like a rent increase or doesn't like the rules put down by a landlord that he may have simply put in the lease that you have to follow the CC&Rs of the existing development with regard to, say, cannabis or something like that. There can be some major disagreements, and the legal fees to mitigate the circumstances can be outrageous. And so, you know, if you are an unhappy tenant, you can certainly go find another building. Go find another landlord that might be more aligned to the kind of life that you want to live in a particular unit. But this, again, is what I would call death by 1,000 slices for investors in the state of California. We've got this black cloud over California. We've seen it with CEQA. We see it with property rights. We see it with other constitutional rights, that people are just getting fed up and they're divesting. I can't tell you how many friends and colleagues that I've known, including family, that have completely divested of their interests in the state of California and moved those investments via methods like 1031 exchanges and tax-deferred mechanisms to go to a place where the business climate is better. So, you know, we can continue down this path, but my friends, I'm going to predict that within a few years, we are not going to see the robust revenue streams that we see in the state of California because, frankly, the people that wanted to be entrepreneurs in the state of California were stifled from doing so, and there's so much competition now throughout the United States. There are so many beneficiaries of entrepreneurs that were formerly from California that have moved out of the state. This is just another reason now for landlords, big and small, to say enough is enough. Let us manage our properties. We worked our hearts and souls, like some of my friends did, in buying one property and then buying two and then buying three. And they try to hand these properties through their generations to their kids to manage, to invest in their properties. But when you start talking about rent controls and tenant rights that can use the legal system to their advantage, we're going down a slippery slope, and frankly, entrepreneurs are going to go where they're able to do business and make a profit. I know that's a dirty word for many of you on the floor of the Senate, but actually make a profit. They're going to go where the path of least resistance will take them. This is another bill to force landlords that have been in the state for many, many years, have provided quality housing for so many. If you start putting these quasi-rent controls on these landlords, if they do keep those properties, they're not going to invest in those properties, if they can only get a limited rate of return, and we'll have substandard housing for many people, much more than we have today. For those reasons, I urge a no vote on SB 529.